everybody. My name's Alicia Blessing, and this is my reflection speech. I'm going to open with a joke. Why did the cookie cry? Because his mother was away for so long. Get it? No? Okay. So maybe I'm not the best joke teller, but I bet you have some things that you're not great at either. For example, at the beginning of the semester, I mentioned that I use humor as kind of a crutch in my previous speeches, not for this class, but in other situations. And I didn't exactly do great because I'm not that great at telling jokes, as you can see. We've all been through a lot this semester, but have overcome so much too. For my final speech, I will be reflecting on what I initially struggled with, what I think I did well, and what I think that I still need to work on. I've never had issues speaking in front of crowds of people. In fact, I enjoy being with people and in front of people. So I thought this class would be a breeze. That was until oral citations and providing structure for my speech came along. When it came to time to sit down and put my ideas into an outline, it was a nightmare. I mean, it was like taking all these ideas and just shoving it. It was terrible. I couldn't do it. I had a really hard time generating transitions. I just didn't know what to say to get to the next step. And also, for my first speech and the second speech, I didn't know how to end them adequately. So they ended so fast. Most of you, and I think even the instructor, didn't really know what hit them. So it was kind of embarrassing and hard to hear the critique on that. My next difficulty, as I mentioned, was the oral citations. That was the hardest thing for me. The first difficulty that I had in that was actually finding citations because I tried to do it the way that I would do it at how I write papers. I would write my paper first and then go back and find citations to fit into my paper. And I tried to do it in the speeches and it just didn't work out well at all. It didn't work that way. And then the second part to that was when I actually had to go back and say the oral citation. I couldn't remember it to save my life. So I kept looking down, and I was just looking at my note cards way too much, and it just drove me nuts. I don't like looking at my note cards so much. So it would take me a million tries to record my speeches, and I was just a mess. And that's really hard when you have two kids who just want to be loud, and it was really bad. So those were my difficulties this semester. So now that I've knocked my self-esteem down a little bit, let's rebuild and talk about what I feel I did well. I previously mentioned that organizing my speech was difficult, but it didn't stay that way the whole course. With every speech, it got a little bit easier, and I finally realized that the outlines helped rather than hindered my creative process. The transitions, once I started to kind of understand them better and I started to really use them, they served as amazing signposts. They really helped trigger my memory for what I'm going to say next. And I think I'll be using them forever. I've never used them before in speeches, and I've given a few speeches before this class. Never used them. I don't know how I got through up until this point without using transitions in a speech. It's terrible. One other area that I hope I did well in, and I hope kind of came across, was selection of topics. I tried to come up with topics that would appeal to everybody, and I gave my topics a lot of thought. The one topic for my how-to speech was how to do a crown braid, and I demonstrated it on my daughter. And I know that we have men in the class, and I tried to say in the speech how it may be useful to them. I gave that some thought. And in my persuasive speech, I wanted to appeal to everybody, and I didn't want to come across as offensive, so I wanted to just say, you know, I wanted to put us all on the same level. So I said, English is out of the question. English is not, our official language. Get that out of your head. We're all learning a new language. So I wanted to make sure to put that in my speech so that, we could all kind of be on the same level with each other. Okay, so finally, let's talk about how I think I can improve. I received critique on maintaining eye contact and having adequate conclusions. So I worked on maintaining eye contact, and I still can work on that. I think a lot of it is in practice, just having the time to really practice your speech beforehand. And I have really worked on it. Like sometimes it gets hard. Some speeches are easier than other ones. I think it depends on your interest in the speech, but it it gets difficult sometimes. I just think it really depends. But I think if you connect with your audience through eye contact, it makes your speech more interesting, and I think it's really important. So it's something to definitely work on for me. And then adequate conclusions. Going back and watching those speeches and not having an adequate conclusion and seeing how quickly I ended my speech without really any indication that I was ending it, oh gosh, it was so embarrassing. So, I think that that's really important too, and it's really something for me to work on and keep in mind in the future. And having that kind of moment where I'm just kind of like, oh my goodness, what did I do? I think it's important, and it's something that'll stick with me forever. Another thing is just filler words, or me. I'm always looking to the side, like, give me a sign of what I'm supposed to say. I do that a lot. See, I just said that's always something to work on. I just think it's a nervous kind of habit, but definitely something to work on. There's always room for improvement, and it's not easy to take critique, but thankfully, being in this class and the people that I had the fortune to work with, it made it the least hostile environment possible. And I'm so grateful that I got to be with the people that I was with in this class. And with so much to overcome in such a short amount of time, I believe our progress speaks for itself, really. You just heard me talk about my struggles throughout the semester, what I believe that I did well, and what I really believe that I could improve upon. So, in closing, I would like to say thank you for listening to me. It's been a pleasure to get to know all of you and to watch all of your videos. I learned a lot. And I was going to share one final pizza joke for old time's sakes, just because old habits die hard, but it proved to be far too cheesy. I did not just do that, because I had to, because, I didn't have content to this speech. It was purely from desire because I really like bad jokes. Thank you so much, and I wish you all success.